Do you ever look back on your past relationships and feel like you were tricked? Does it feel like in those relationships there was so much confusion and misdirection that your head was literally spinning? And if you would have just known what was actually going on at the time, then you wouldn't have made the mistake of wasting all of your valuable, precious time. Well, we can't change the past, but we can work on the future, which is why on today's show, we're going to discuss 8 ways men confuse you to use you. That way, all of the tricks and schemes will be so crystal clear to you that you'll never get played again. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so I know you're here present and actively participating. Okay, welcome on this beautiful Friday afternoon. For some of you, it might be Friday night. It's still good because it's Friday. It's Friday. Okay. I see we got who we got here in the chat. What we got going on? We got Sarah here in the YouTube chat, Jamar, we got Rachel Johnson, we got Jazz. Okay. We got SH holding down the TikTok chat as our moderator here. We got Scotty as well up in here. Scotty's becoming OG. We got Kat. We got Cameron, Giselle, and Adesola. Is that Nigerian? Okay. Welcome all you beautiful people. Much more to join us in the show, and we will discuss as time goes on. Okay, let's start with number 1. Number 1 is love bombing. Okay. Now, I know some of you, a lot of you, have heard of love bombing before, but I know some of you are unfamiliar, but I want to break it down for you so you can understand where it comes from, why it happens, and what they're trying to do when they're doing this thing, okay? One of the major ways men are going to confuse you is to love bomb you. Why? Because if you're someone who enjoys validation, if you're someone who enjoys that attention, if you're someone who enjoys to feel like you're being loved and appreciated by a guy, right? And that really matters to you, like you really care about it, it's going to be an easy way to manipulate you. And so what I mean when I say love bombing, I mean when guys will lay it on real thick at the beginning, especially the beginning, because they understand that the thicker they lay it on at the beginning with their compliments, with how much they want to be with you, with how much they want to build with you, with how seriously they're taking this in this relationship and how fast they want to build. They want you to move in next week. They want you to be their wife in the next couple of months. Like, it's just like everything is moving at breakneck speed. And it seems like they're constantly trying to push things forward before you even feel like you've gotten to know the person or you've even built a real relationship here. And so they love bomb you by telling you so much of how they want to build with you, telling you so much about how much they care about you. And you start thinking to yourself, that's amazing and it makes me feel amazing, but there's like a little space in your brain there. Even when you're in it and even when you're feeling it and even when it feels awesome and you're in a euphoric state, there's like a small little space in your brain that's thinking, this feels amazing, but it doesn't feel truthful. It feels a little bit phony, or it feels a little bit quick, or there just might be a little thought in your mind that I don't know if you really know me. And you might even say that sometimes when you're being love bombed. You might say that in your head, or you might say that out loud where you're saying to the guy that's love bombing you, but do you really know that about me? Or you don't even know me enough to know that? Or like, how would you even know that? And usually when a guy's love bombing you, this will be his response when you ask him that. He'll say, I don't even need to know. I can just feel it. I just feel it. It's tingling in my bones. It's a feeling. Can't you see it in the air? It's right there and you can grasp it. And I don't need to know you. I don't need to spend time with you. I just have to feel you. And I can feel everything I need to know about you in order to know that I want you to be my wife and I want you to have my children. I can just feel it. Can't you feel it? Let's feel on each other. Can you feel my lower extremities? I want to feel your lower extremities. Can I feel the insides of your lower extremity? Right? And it's all about feelings. Okay, not facts, not reality, not what actually makes sense or is real. but feelings. Why? Because the process of love bombing is to get you in an emotional state where you're not paying attention to how little things make sense around you, and you're only paying attention to how good it feels to be doing the thing. One of the most powerful ways the most powerful ways people are going to manipulate you, specifically men, is to emotionally manipulate you. Okay, through emotions. And even more specifically, through emotions, they want to overwhelm you with specific emotions at specific times, some of which might be positive emotions and some of which might be negative emotions, in order to have you so focused on the emotion that you're feeling that you forget to start thinking rationally or being able to make clear-minded decisions. Why? Because your emotions take over all of your brain and thought power, and all you can do is think or feel that emotion. And so that's where the love bombing comes into place, because it's meant to put you in a euphoric state where all you can think about is how this is just like your Disney princess movie. All you can think about is how you feel so loved and appreciated finally by a man who actually cares. Finally, this is like Prince Charming, and he's come on a white horse to save you and take you to a land far, far away. And this is just like the Wattpad story you were reading last week. And this is just like the smut book you just finished reading. And this is just like 365 Days when you watched it on Netflix and you can't believe it's finally happening to you because this is finally your moment. And you're so focused on that, and you become so focused on that, and that's what the guys want. They want you to be focused on that they don't want you to be focused on the things that actually are questions still in the relationship. Like, how could you know you want to make me your wife in the span of 2 weeks when all we've done is go out on a few dinner dates and we've never actually known each other for any period of time that would allow you to really know who I am or determine that you want to spend the rest of your life with me? Okay. And it's one of the major things guys are going to throw at you in order to get what they want from you and in order to utilize you so that they can, because in the process, when you feel that euphoric feeling, you're going to think, okay, well, I guess I should just go ahead with it. I guess I should just move along with it. I guess if this is what he wants and this is what he thinks is right, then that's what is right, because you'll start feeling like this is what will happen. And this is where the trick comes in, because when he's love bombing you, trying to make him present himself to you as if I feel so much strong emotions when I'm with you, and I just feel so much how I want to be with you for the rest of my life. What's going to happen also is, even if that doesn't make sense to you, the more he expresses that to you, you're going to begin to feel guilty if you don't reciprocate those feelings back to him. You're going to start feeling guilty if you're not as invested in him or obsessed with him or want him to be your husband the same way he's so sure about you. And so you're going to try to muster up and literally create feelings in yourself for this guy that don't actually exist, simply because you want to mirror his same passion and excitement for you, even though it's moving at breakneck speed. And see, when you're moving things along at breakneck speed, you're not pacing yourself. You're not going to be thinking about boundaries. You're not going to be thinking about building. You're just going to be thinking about doing everything in one day. And what's going to happen when you do everything in one day? You're going to do even the girlfriend treatment and the intimacy parts in one day. And so very quickly, you find yourself sleeping with the guy who you think you're building a relationship with, only to find out that by the time you sleep with him 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 times, if it's really good, then you realize, after a couple of months, maybe for some of you after a couple of weeks, his interest just begins to fall off of a cliff. And slowly but surely, actually not slowly but surely, but as quickly as it started is as quickly as you find yourself in a position where you're like, wait, what happened? I thought you were super into me. I thought you really wanted me. I thought you really wanted this relationship to work. Why is this not working now? Why are you not interested in me anymore? What has happened? What have I done? Did I offend you? Am I not attractive anymore? Did I do something? And see, this is as soon as that happens, you're in a place where now he's flipped the script on you. And you know what happens when the guys flip the script on you? When the guys are able to bait you into feeling like you need to start doing more, then you start pursuing him. You start chasing after him. As soon as you start feeling that anxiety that he's not into you as much as he was when he was love bombing you. But the reality is he was love bombing you, meaning it wasn't real, or it wasn't rooted in anything, I should say. Okay, does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? Very important. And I gave this example before, and I won't go too deep into it. I just know that there's a lot of new people. So I want you guys to get an understanding of this example, because as it relates to love bombing, it will be so powerful for you to understand pace and understand how things should be building and not happening in one day. Okay, this is a great example. It woke me up the first time I did it. It'll wake you up. It'll be a great splash of cold water. So the reason I have my phone out is because we're going to use a little bit of math, very basic math. It's not very hard. Don't think too hard. Don't start sweating. So I want us to do some math on how much time you would actually spend with someone if you were dating them for 3 months and going on 3 dates per week for 3 months. Because a lot of us would think, okay, if I've been dating someone for 3 months and we're ready to date each other, or we think that we should get married, then that makes sense, because it's 3 months and that's a long time to be getting to know someone. Okay, so let's imagine what it would be like to date someone for 3 months and then go on 3 dates with them per week. So let's imagine that each date you're going on per week lasts 3 hours. Okay, I'm going to make this quick, but it's very simple math. Meaning you're going on 3-hour dates 3 times a week. So that adds up to 9 hours total per week that you're seeing this guy in person, going on an in-person date with him. Okay, so we got 9 hours per week. Now let's multiply that 9 by the 4 weeks in each month. Okay, so you got 4, or let's just say the 8 weeks. Sorry, the 12 weeks in each month. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, so 9 hours. Stay with me. 9 hours times 12. I already know the answer, but I'm just going to put it on. So the 9 hours that you're spending with him per week times the 12 weeks in the 3 months, right? That's a total of 108 hours. Okay, meaning this number means that in the span of 3 months, going on 3 dates per week for 3 hours each, you have spent a total of 108 hours with that man in person. And you know what I say, texting is not getting to know someone. Even phone calls and FaceTimes is just a replica of the real thing. So the amount of time you've really spent with that person in real life, getting to know them, is 108 hours. Because I'm sure none of you would say that you can make a decision on who you're going to spend the rest of your life with by phone calling them or texting them. So that doesn't count. Now, if you divide that 108 hours by 24 to get the amount of days it's been, that is 4.5 days. Meaning, in the span of 3 months, you have spent 4.5 actual days with that person in person, speaking to them and getting to know them. So the reason I bring up this math here, okay, I hope I didn't lose you, but the reason I bring up this math here is because when guys are love bombing you and telling you how, as soon as they laid their eyes on you, love at first sight, as soon as they laid their eyes on you, they knew that they wanted you to be their wife. As soon as they laid their eyes on you, they knew that they wanted to build this relationship with you forever and ever and all that good stuff. And it's the first day they met you, they just knew how much they wanted you, right? It sounds good in a movie, but in reality, the amount of time you're actually spending together, even in a 3-month span, is only the equivalent of 4.5 days. And I would ask you all in the chat, do you think you would actually be able to determine who you would spend the rest of your life with if I only gave you 4.5 days to make that decision? Okay, right? And I ask it like that because that's what you're actually doing when you think that you should commit to someone just because it feels good and it's, you guys want to build stuff at breakneck speed. When you're not actually thinking of the reality of the situation. Okay, that's why I bring up that math. Okay, so that's love bombing. Next, we have a term that some of you may have heard. This might be a little bit of an unknown term. Maybe some of you that are really smart have heard this before. Number 2 is future faking. Okay, so future faking is essentially like selling a dream. And specifically in terms of selling a dream, I consistently sell you on the idea that we're building up to something, even though in reality, we're never actually building up to anything real. I just talk about us building up to something real. And the hope that that gives you is what motivates you to keep going through the mud with me in this situationship, not knowing what things are, not knowing what the title is, not knowing what the expectations are or the standards are. And you just continuously get strung along with me in this relationship. We'll talk about stringing along in a little bit, right? You get strung along in this relationship, hoping to eventually see that future that I discuss with you or I talk about with you. Even though when I talk about it and make you feel like it's happening, eventually you realize that it's not happening. And the craziest part about it is every time you realize that it's not happening, and even if you bring up the fact that it's not actually happening, I just give you a different future to look forward to, or I give you a different thing to hope for so that you can latch onto that and not be concerned with the fact that the last thing I gave you hope for didn't even materialize itself in the relationship. Okay? Does that make sense? An example of future faking would be like if me and you were dating, or not, let's not even say dating. If me and you were talking, and let's say in the process of us talking, you were coming over to my house a lot, and that's how it started, and that's how it's been. And so we've been going on 2 or 3 months of you just coming over to my house. Yeah, we smash, we have a little bit of chit chat, we watch some Netflix, and you're like, look, I kind of want more than this. I kind of want to build on a relationship that's serious. I want to build a relationship that's long term. I don't just want to sit here and smash and watch Netflix. Like, we got to go out on some dates. We got to do more than just sit in your house. And I tell you, yeah, I want to take you out on a date. I want to take you out to this fancy spot. I just got to save up some money, or I just got to do this one thing. And once I get this one thing, or I get this one job, then we'll start going out on dates. But for now, I got to work on this thing, or I got to work on my business, or I got to work on my friendship. I got to work on my life. I got to, whatever it may be, his excuses for not being able to give you that. I share with you the hope of no. It's coming what you want. Just be patient for it. And lo and behold, you're like, oh, you want to take me out to Nobu? Oh, you want to take me out to a fancy restaurant? Oh, you want to take me out to Red Lobster? I don't know what you like. Maybe you like Red Lobster. Oh, you want to take me out somewhere nice to my favorite Japanese spot? You want to take me out to Hibachi and treat me like a princess? Okay, I wait. I wait. I'm excited for Hibachi. I'm excited for Nobu. I wait. And you're waiting and waiting and waiting. And in the process of that, you're still coming over to his place. You're still smashing. You're still just watching Netflix. You're still chilling. You're still whatevering. Anything but actually going out on this date. Until you finally realize, once it's been 3 more months, that all the dates that he promised you he would take you on still hasn't materialized into anything. It's just been chitter chatter. But meanwhile, in the process of you not realizing that or waiting for that, what's he been able to do? Continuously get access to your Squirtle. Continuously have pineapples with you for free, with no real commitment, and not showing you any of the things that he's been talking to you about. Or like Ivy just said, yapping about. Okay, literally just yapping to you and giving you hope of something that never comes. Hope is a very powerful and dangerous thing. Hope will have you staying and waiting on something that literally will never happen. You're literally going to waste your entire life waiting for the day for something to materialize that never materializes itself. And it can be so painful and dangerous. Because it's a cycle that is very hard to pull yourself out of and come to the realization that I'm hoping on nothing. I'm hoping for something that isn't going to happen. It's painful because you want to have hope. You want to see the future that you want to be with this person that you want to be with. And so it's natural that you're going to want to believe in the words that he's saying or the future that he's presenting you with. The reality of it is, though, if that really is the future he wanted to give you, he would just give you that. Or he would start taking action towards that. He wouldn't just tell you about how it's about to happen. So you can't let guys talk a big game to you about what they're about to do with you or about to do in this relationship. And you need to focus all of your attention on what they're actually doing. And if you know you're someone that gets overly emotional and you can't really start thinking logically when you start liking someone, I would advise you to even keep a diary. And in your diary, write down all the things that he's actually done. Not the things that he's talked about doing or the things he said he's about to do with you in this relationship. Talk about what he's actually done. So if you haven't gone on a single dinner date in the span of you knowing him, write down that you haven't gone on a single dinner date in the span of you knowing him. Don't write down, we're about to go on a dinner date as soon as he gets a little bit of money. We're about to go out to this fancy restaurant in the next couple of months when, he gets his life together. Write down what is actually happening or has actually happened in your relationship. That way you can look back on it and really have a clear idea of what's really going on. Not how you feel about things or what you feel might happen in the future, what is actually happening. Okay? Jazz says, what do you do when your husband is future faking you? It's kind of the same idea. So in your response to future faking, when you're married to someone, you've kind of gone past the threshold there of a little bit of a point of no return. Of course you can return, but still. But in terms of like future faking with a husband, someone that you're already married to or committed to, it's obviously not as easy to walk away from someone like that, but you need to call that person out and say, look, it's great that you're saying this, but there are going to be consequences if I don't actually see a change. So it's great that you can talk about a change, but there will be consequences if there isn't a change. Because being with the husband that future fakes, first of all, that should be something you should have vetted out before you got married. But we all have things to work on. It's fine. But if you find a husband future faking with you, then my advice to you is to really make it clear that you're expecting to see actions and changes, not just words and chitter chatter. And so if he has no plan of actions in order to change that, or he can't come up with a plan, or he can't tell you about how, not just what he's about to do, but tell you how he plans to do it, that's actually a very key indicator for you, Jazz, there. If your husband is not able to tell you a plan or a course of action in order to accomplish the goal of whatever future he's trying to sell you on, then he's just lying to you. And so you can't accept him to just chitter chatter, talk out of his butthole with no course of action. And you have to let him know and call him out. Say, look, if I don't see an actual change in terms of course of action, right, then this is you're going to be facing some severe consequences. And if that continues, then you have to make a decision on the marriage. Okay. Unfortunately, because if your husband is selling you on an idea of something that never happens, well, you can't just sit there waiting for the situation to happen because that's your husband. Okay. It's just Celeste says he's not lying. I was being future faked in an 8-year relationship. Do yourself a favor and leave. You heard it from her. You heard it from her. Okay. So love bombing was number 1. Future faking was number 2. Number 3, let's talk about with the withdrawal. Okay. So what guys are going to do when they're trying to use you and take advantage of you and they're trying to confuse you, they're going to withdraw from you in order to elicit the response of you chasing after them. Why? Because for a lot of you, some of you might have evolved since we started watching this show, but some of you that may be new here and may still be working, you come to relationships with a very anxious attachment style. Meaning, when you come into your relationships and you start to like a guy and you really like this guy, you really want this relationship to work with this guy specifically. Meaning that if things start going wrong or he starts acting up, you really still want this to work. And so instead of you calling him out on what he's doing wrong or how he's mistreating you or how he's not being the man that you need him to be or the partner that you need him to be, you start trying to do his job for him. So what happens? You become the man. You start chasing after him. You start being the masculine energy. You start doing all of his jobs that he should be doing. You start doing all of them. in order to compensate for the fact that he's withdrawing, hoping that if you do more of the work, that it will stimulate him growing his interest back in you, or it will stimulate this relationship moving in the right direction. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. So for example, let's say me and you are dating, and in the process of us dating, let's say I have an issue in terms of keeping my word as it relates to dates. And I say, okay, I really want to go to the zoo with you. I want to see the zoo. I've never been to the zoo, and I want us to go so badly to go to the zoo, pet some dolphins, pet some giraffes and zebras and all that good stuff. And I tell you about how I really want to go to the zoo, but it's like every time I talk about it, I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll go next week, like Tuesday. And when Tuesday comes, I am a no-show. I don't text you. I don't call you. I don't give you a heads up. I don't say anything. And you're sitting there like, wait, what happened? I thought we were doing Tuesday. And you're texting me and you're calling me and I'm nowhere to be found. Until Thursday comes, right? And I let you know, or Wednesday comes and I let you know, yeah, my bad about Tuesday. I just got real caught up and real busy. But we got to go to the zoo soon. And so an example of withdrawing and how guys use that to confuse you and then they use it against you. When they withdraw like that, then you start feeling like, oh, well, I need to compensate and do the work for you by let me plan the date instead. Let me make sure, okay, we're going to go to the zoo on Wednesday. Okay, I'm free at this time. What time do you finish work? Okay, you finish work at this time. Okay, I'm going to call you the night before. I'm going to text you the night before. And then the day of, I'm going to call you 10 times again and text you 10 times again. I'm going to make sure that I plan and schedule and I book our reservation at the zoo and I make sure I get our tickets and I make sure I do this and do that. And are you ready? And are you this? And are you dressed? And what? And now, because he withdrew or because he's not doing the job that he should be doing, now you're taking his place, you're being the man and you're chasing after him. You're the one asking him out on the date. You're the one planning the date. You're the one doing the man's job because he withdrew from you. And it's a great strategy for the men because they can, when they withdraw from you like that, or when they take away some of their interest in you, when they take away some of that attention away from you, it very easily, if you're desperate or if you're anxiously attached, it very easily gets you to start pushing forward towards him, doing more for him and working for him. And what happens? He gets to sit back, relax, not say or do anything while you give him everything you've got. You're doing back flips, front flips, side flips. You're trying to do the absolute most to keep this relationship going while he sits back, relaxes, and does nothing for you. So it's a great strategy for the men to use you for exactly how they want to use you while putting in no effort or work back into you. It's like you have 150% investment, spending 150% of your time and energy while he spends 0. In fact, he sucks the life and energy out of you and he takes all that you give him and he goes and uses that and gives it to another girl and chases after another girl. Okay? So I know that's painful, but I want you to realize this is one of the many ways that guys are going to try to confuse you, right? By withdrawing from you or taking away that interest that they once had in you, very similar to love bombing, or just seeming as if they care less now, that when they withdraw like that, what are you going to do? You're going to start chasing instead. And you don't want to be doing that. So when a guy withdraws from you, instead of chasing him back, what you need to do is withdraw also. And you guys are now in a 1970s Western where you guys both have your pistols drawn and you're pointing at each other. And it's like, all right, who's going to fire first? And you literally have to wait it out. Because the guys that withdraw from you are withdrawing from you to see if they're going to get a reaction from you. And if they get a reaction from you or a response that's, wait, why are you withdrawing? Okay, I'll do the work now. Okay, I'll be the man now. Okay, I'll take care of you now and do everything that you should have been doing so that this relationship will work. Then they'll go, perfect. I got you. I don't got to do nothing. But if you withdraw also and take a step back also and you Wait it out. I know it's difficult, but this is why I say you have to get your hobbies and your passions and your life fulfillment in order so that it won't be as painful, because you're not just sitting on your bed tearing up, smelling his sweaters. Okay. And you take a step back as well. And what's going to happen is, if he's actually interested in you, he's going to realize, oh, I withdrew and she withdrew also. She's not coming running to me. So let me get my stuff together, because if I withdraw for too long, she's actually going to forget about me and move on. And I don't want that. I actually want to be with this girl. And honestly, to be honest with you, some guys that even like you and want to be with you, that will happen. They'll withdraw from you only to realize that withdrawing from you doesn't work. And they're going to come back and say, my apologies. I will never do that again. I didn't know. I wasn't familiar with your game. I didn't know you were secure. I didn't know you had confidence. I didn't know you weren't needy. I'm used to girls being needy. And please, I want to be with you. I don't want you to forget about me. Actually, do you want these Louis Vuitton shoes that I bought for you? They're actually your size. Do you want those? Do you want to go get your nail? Which one do you want? You want your nails done? What you want? Right? And some men are going to come back with respect, because they realize withdrawing from you doesn't work. They don't even get a response from you. In fact, they get no interest, no response, no nothing. Okay? Right? Lily says, how long to wait? Lily, you got to wait forever. You have to, this is why I say, this is why I talk to you guys about detachment. And even in the guys you're dating and seeing, you detach yourself from the outcome, meaning you detach yourself from the idea that it has to be them that you end up in a relationship with. The only thing you're attached to is the idea that you are going to be in a specific type of situation with a specific type of partner that treats you a specific type of way. That's all you're attached to. That could be anyone. And the guy that is meant for you will fit that mold of what you expect from a partner in a relationship. That's all you're worried about. Now, as it relates to each individual guy that you're dating, if they show themselves to not fit the mold of what you're expecting and what your standards and expectations are, then they can go by the wayside and go wander off somewhere, because they don't matter to you. You're only invested in people that are going to show themselves in the light that you need and expect a guy and a man to be. That's all you're worried about. Okay? So you do have to wait forever and resign yourself to the fact, like Lily asked, you have to resign yourself to the fact that it will, they could never come back, or it might never work out. And that's okay, because you're not looking for anybody. You're looking for the person that fits what you are expecting from a relationship. Okay? So number 1 was love bombing. Number 2, we had future faking. Number 3, withdraw. Number 4, guys are going to play dumb. Okay? Now, when I'm talking about playing dumb, what I'm specifically referring to is, one of the best ways to confuse you is to pretend as if I don't understand what your issue is or what you're trying to address. Because if I can pretend like I don't understand what your issue is or what you're trying to address or what the problem is, then I don't have to take accountability for my actions. And so sometimes when you call a guy out on something, or sometimes when you set a boundary or you set a standard, what guys are going to do is, some people said gaslighting. It is like a version of gaslighting. What some guys are going to do is they're going to act as if what you're saying doesn't even make sense to be a problem, and they can't even comprehend how that would be an issue. Why? Because if I can't comprehend how you would have an issue with that, or I don't see the issue in that, or even when you try to say, oh, what if it was you? What if it was reversed on me? And I say, oh, well, I wouldn't have an issue with that. What happens? Then I can escape accountability for having to apologize or stand up for the fact that I did you wrong. And I can just pass it off as, well, it shouldn't have been a problem to you because it wouldn't have been a problem for me. And I don't see what the problem is. So why are we even arguing about a problem? What am I apologizing for when there's nothing even to apologize about? And so if guys can play dumb, they can confuse you and convince you into thinking that your problems aren't actual problems. Right? And they can confuse and convince you into thinking that you shouldn't address the things that you think should be addressed, because it's probably not even a real issue anyways. And the more they can play dumb, right? Guys might be emotionally stunted. They're not idiots though. But the more they can play dumb, the less they have to take accountability for anything that goes on in the relationship or any times that they wrong you, because they can pass it all off as I didn't know. This is one of the main number one reasons why the guys that you're talking to and in these long strung out situationships, they'll never give you a clear title or a clear understanding of what the responsibilities and standards and expectations are. Why? Because as things go on and things happen, he can pass off all of these mistakes or all of these wrongdoings. Let's say he starts talking to another girl. Let's say he sleeps with another girl. Let's say he takes a whole nother girl out on a date or is messaging another girl. He can pass everything off as, oh, I didn't know. If you would have just told me you didn't like me going out on dates with other girls, I would have not went out on dates with other girls. If you would have just told me that you actually wanted us to be exclusive and you actually were trying to build it up to be a real relationship, then I would have not done this. Or if you would have just told me that you don't just want us to casually hang out. I thought we were doing a friend thing. I thought we were doing a chill thing. I thought we were just, exploring our friendship and exploring each other and just, kind of relaxing and, just not taking it too serious. Then I would have not gone out and started dating another girl. But you didn't tell me and I didn't know, so I couldn't do anything. And so when they play dumb or they act as if they're confused or they act as if they didn't know, it's a great way to confuse you to the point where you feel like you can't even have a problem with the thing, or to the point where you feel like you can't even have that issue anymore. And so what happens? You continuously suppress your issues, or even worse, you continuously have the same issues. Okay? Right? Not knowing how to deal with them or address them. And so what happens? They continue to be issues. And in a lot of cases, those issues get even worse. Right? Chi said they just want to destroy you. Okay? That's funny. So you don't want to allow guys to play dumb with you, which is why you need to have a clear understanding of what your standards and expectations are. And the guys that are pursuing you, you let them know, hey, if you're pursuing me, that's great. That's awesome that you're so into me. But I have to let you know, there's 1,000 other guys who are also pursuing me that they want me. You don't have to say that, but this is how you make him feel. And you make it known that, hey, I have particular standards and expectations of a man who I'm going to give access to me. And if you can't meet those standards and expectations, that's perfectly fine, but you will not have access to me. Now, like I said, you don't have to say that, but this is what he starts to feel, okay? In the process of getting to know you and understanding that you don't mess around. And he'll feel that the most, not by you talking a big game and not by you telling him that you're upset. Literally, all you have to do is you withdraw your energy, okay? If you're going to be the prize and you're going to be the person that he should chase after and pursue, you have to understand that if you are the prize, then access to you is also the prize. And so if someone upsets you, specifically a guy, or a guy's not treating you right, or a guy's not treating you how you expect to be treated, you don't yell and scream to try to get him and convince him to treat you right. What you do is you withdraw your energy. And he will come to the realization, I don't like when you withdraw your energy from me. It makes me feel like you don't want to be with me anymore. I want you to want to be with me still. And I want us to go back to the dynamic that I'm accustomed to, where I feel loved and I feel like you want to be here. What do I have to do to get that same response from you that I'm accustomed to, that I want? I don't want you to withdraw your energy anymore. And see, when guys come to you with the idea that, hey, I want to do what is required of me in order to get you to not withdraw anymore. Now you can say, okay, if you want me to not withdraw my energy anymore, this is what I expect from you. You don't tell them they have to do it. You don't tell them what the orders are and what you just say, hey, if you want me to not withdraw my energy, cool, very simple. This is what I expect. And then they say, yes, ma'am, I'm happy to do that. Do you need me to scrub the floor clean? I'll do that. Do you need me to wash the pots and pans and dishes? I'll do that. Need me to take out the trash? I'll do that. Whatever you need of me, I will do that, because I don't want you to continuously withdraw your energy from me. It makes me feel like you don't want to be here anymore. See, when you treat yourself like a prize and you treat access to you like a prize, you will take it away like a consequence. Does that make sense? Right? Okay, so first, we talked about love bombing, we talked about future faking, then we talked about withdrawal, playing dumb. Now, this is a very weird and strange one, but I will come to an understanding on this and it'll make sense as we discuss. Number 4, sorry, this is number 1, 2, 3, 4. This is number 5. Guys will confuse you by giving attention to other girls in front of you. It's very strange, but if you've ever had it happen to you, you know what I'm talking about. Whether it be the way they compliment them, the way they flirt with them in front of you, the way they even talk about them to you. In some cases, it might even be your own like best friend or a girl that's close to you or your sister in some weird, strange cases. And this is one of those things where guys will use this trick to trigger your own insecurity that once again, it will kind of have you chasing after him. It's very strange, but like I said, if you've ever had it done to you, you know what I'm talking about. They'll show attention to other women that you'll start to feel like I like you, but you're showing attention to other women. Hey, do you not see me over here? I'm standing right here. Am I invisible to you? What do I have to do so that you'll see me instead? And so what happens again? You start trying your hardest to be noticed by him. You start trying to do front flips and back flips and cartwheels and scrubbing the floor in your maid outfit while you're washing the pans and the dishes. Trying to show him, hey, don't look over at these other girls and pay attention to these girls. Please pay attention to me. I'm the girl that you want to be with. I'm the girl that you want to be in a relationship with. I'm the girl that you want to marry. Remember me. Don't you see me? I feel like you've forgotten of my existence. Don't you see it still? And you start breaking down. Right? And you just become this ball of anxiety because you feel like, whoa, the attention is off of me now. And the attention is now being given to some other girls, whether it be my sister, my cousin, my best friend, or just a random girl. Okay. And then you start saying, like B just said, you start saying, pick me. No, pick me. See me. Choose me. I want it to be me. And the same thing with withdrawing is what happens here. Now you start being the man. Now you start doing the chasing. Now you start trying to, remember I always tell you guys, the most attractive thing you can do for guys is to do nothing. But the least attractive thing you can do is to try and do everything and try and do more so that he'll see you and notice you. And it's the same thing here. As you become the man and you take more of a masculine role on by trying to chase after him, trying to do everything you can that he'll see you and notice you and want to be with you, you only end up being less and less attractive to these guys while simultaneously allowing him to sit back and receive more and more from you. So it's crazy. He's giving you less, but he's getting more girlfriend treatment from you. And so he's like, oh, I guess I'll just continue to do less so I can continue to receive more. It's like a win-win for him while it's a lose-lose for you. Okay? And so when guys are giving attention to other girls, right? Whether it be through their energy, whether it be to talking to other girls, liking their picture. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Liking their pictures. Okay? Right? If you're with a guy, I'll give you an example, right? If you're with a guy and the guy that you're seeing, let's say you've been seeing him for like 3 months, and for whatever reason, you see that he's been liking these IG model pictures or whatever pictures online, I don't want you to freak out and say, how dare you like a girl's picture? Why would you like her picture? I can't believe you're liking all these girls' pictures and you know, why you want to be with those girls instead of me? You think those girls have a bigger dump truck than me? Is that why you like their pictures all the time? You must not like me. You must not appreciate me. You're basically saying I have a flat booty. Is that why you like all these pictures of all these girls with dump truck? And so what do you start doing? You try to do more, and you try to get him to notice you, and you try to get him to want you instead. What you should have done is, even if you peep it, take a step back and relax. You If you are going to embody the dream girl, you are not affected by the attention he shows to other girls. Because if you're truly the dream girl, it doesn't matter. You know you're the dream girl. You can't. This one might not make sense to some of you, because for some of you, this might be something you can't do. You don't give attention to other women as if those women hold more power over your man or the guy you're talking to than you. You never want to, I'm not saying you shouldn't address things, but you never want to bring up women as if they can persuade or have more of the attention of your man than you. Because as soon as you start talking about other women like that, as if they have that much power over your guy, you're going to bring that energy out into the world. And you're not going to be embodying the dream girl that he should be chasing after. You're actually going to be building up another woman, another woman in his mind about how powerful she is and how persuasive she is and how seductive she is. Don't be giving and building up no other women in his mind. You build your damn self up. Okay? Don't be talking about, oh, why are you giving this attention to this girl? You're not concerned with that. You're concerned with you. Because the moment you give that energy to those other women that he's giving attention to, you give them power over you. And you give them power over the guy that you're talking to. Now, I'm not saying that you don't address things. You can still address things in terms of, if he's doing something wrong or doing something you don't appreciate, right? You can still address things. But what I want to caution you on in addressing things is make sure that you're addressing issues that you actually have in the relationship in terms of if he disrespects you, that's something totally different. If he talks down on you, that's totally different. If he calls you outside of your name, that's totally different. If he cheats on you, that's totally different. But I just want to caution you that there's a line between him disrespecting you and you feeling as if he's giving attention to other girls instead of giving that attention to you. Are you kind of following what I'm saying here? Okay. There's a difference between him cheating on you, right? And him giving attention to other girls. You don't want it to, you don't want us to start to feel like you have the least of his attention. And you don't want to start speaking to him as if you have the least of his attention. Okay? You want to always put yourself in a position, right, where you look as if you're in control and in power over him. He's chasing after you. He wants you all the time. You don't want to be building up and talking at length, ad nauseum about other women in your relationship. I know this one sounds weird and sounds strange, but you don't want to be doing that. The more you build up and why are you giving attention to this girl, giving attention to that, you're going to grow your own anxiety within yourself. And you're going to start being someone that now you're trying to be seen. You're trying to get picked because you don't want him to be looking at any other girl. Okay. Does that make sense to you guys so far? I know that's a little bit confusing because some of you are like, well, should but I'm supposed to not bring up stuff no, you still bring up stuff when he disrespects you. You still bring up stuff when that needs to be addressed, but you don't allow other women to hold power over you or hold power over your man in the relationship. And you don't allow his attention, right, to be something you're desperate for and you're waving your hands to try to be seen. You do you, and you believe in you. And if he's going to chase after you, he's going to do that. But you don't beg him to see you. You don't beg him to want you. You don't beg him to desire you. You're already desirable. You don't need to ask him to do that. Right? You just said it's making a sense. Just don't chat about other women, basically. Exactly. Don't be talking all this stuff about this girl. Why you looking at this girl? Why you liking her pictures? Why you doing this? You're only giving that girl and him power because you're showing how much it affects you, and you're showing how much the attention that he'll give to other girls will affect you. And so what do you think are some of the things he's going to do when he wants to trigger you or affect you? He's going to start giving attention to other girls when he wants to affect you. When he sees you're unbothered by that and you're unaffected by that, what's going to happen? He's going to say, this is literally a waste of my time. It doesn't trigger her or affect her. So I gotta do something else. See, when you're unmoved or unshaken in general, especially emotionally, and you're just emotionally grounded, it becomes very hard for guys to come along in your life and start manipulating you to get you to do what they want you to do. And they eventually they give up and they say, okay, I can't really manipulate you. So either I got to be here because I really want to be here, or I got to get the F out because this is useless. I can't shake you. I can't get you to act crazy. I can't get you to act a fool. I can't get you to do some stuff or say some stuff that you would never do. I can't get you to react or respond out of your character. This, like, what's the point of this? I literally can't take advantage of you. Because that's the MO, that's the key there. If they can't control you emotionally, they can't trigger you emotionally, they can't take advantage of you anymore. And when they can't take advantage of you, they're like, well, this is, I was only here to take advantage of you. So now that I realize I can't, this is kind of pointless. Or they say in some cases, I can't take advantage of you. I respect you now. And I respect the fact that I can't take advantage of you, which is why I want to be with you for real. And I want to take it seriously. It'll be one of the two. Okay. So we talked about love bombing, future faking, withdraw, playing dumb, attention to others. Now let's talk about overwhelming. Now, when I talk about overwhelming, what I'm specifically referring to is how guys will overwhelm you with emotions of how much they wanted to see you or they missed you or wanted to be with you, right? Or how much agony they felt when you weren't with them, to try to immediately stimulate seeing you right now in the second. So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about by overwhelming you with the emotions of desire and lust and love and all that good stuff. It's not love bombing. It's a little bit different. Okay. So for example, if I pick up the phone and I call you at 2 a.m., I just finished at the club. Ooh, I was grinding up a storm at the club. Girl, you know I don't need candles and cake, just need you. I was grinding up a storm at the club. Ooh, we was getting down and dirty at the club. There was work. You see me, I be work, right? And I call you at 2 a.m. after I finish at the club. And I'm like, oh, girl, yo, I don't like that we don't talk no more like that, girl, yo. Me and you know me and you, we go way back, girl. You know, the way I miss you, girl, it's like, you just different. And I was just thinking of you all night, and I was just thinking how I miss you so much, and we haven't connected in so long. Like, I know it's late, but you know, the way I'm just thinking about you, like I can't get you off my mind. I just feel like I gotta see you. Like, girl, where you at? Like, I'm about to pull up on you right now, yo. You did something to me, yo. I don't know what you did to my mind. I don't know what you did to my soul, but you touched me. You touched me in ways I never could imagine, and the way I feel about you is not like I felt about any other girl in my entire life. I'm trying to pull up on you right now. What you saying, shawty? Tell me what you saying. I'm just tell me something, yo. Just tell me something. I'm trying to see you right now, baby. Please, let's talk. And then what do? You fold like a cheap lawn chair. That's what you do. You fold, right? And it's different from love bombing. It's when they're overwhelming you with these emotions, their own emotions of, I miss you so much, and I can't get enough of you, and I'm in so much agony without being with you. I'm in so much agony when you're not around. It's so painful. I came to the realization of how much I want you and how badly I want to speak to you and see you. And you notice usually after every time they try to overwhelm you, because I guarantee you, when the guys call you like that at the 2 a.m., it's not like they were speaking to you all week. They probably didn't speak to you all week. They probably haven't talked to you in a couple weeks. They're just calling you randomly. And then it's like they're almost making up for lost time by pouring on all of these emotions and all of these feelings that, well, where did these, you didn't really even seem to have these last week when you weren't texting me or calling me. All of a sudden you have these feelings of how much you desire me and want to be with me now, right now in the second. And they'll overwhelm you with the emotions that they feel, so that you'll become emotionally overwhelmed as well. And then what are you going to say? Yeah, okay, come. Okay, yeah, you can pull up. Okay, yeah, my address is. Okay, yeah, my buzz code is. And he's right back in your Squirtle, using you for what he wants to use you for. And then, you know, once it's done, he's driving away and he's not speaking to you for the rest of the week. Okay. So I don't want that to happen to you, but I know that it's happened to a lot of you. And we want to prevent that from continuing to happen. Okay. So when guys try to overwhelm you like that, first of all, you shouldn't be answering no calls at 2 a.m. Okay. But when guys try to overwhelm you like that, I need you to understand that anytime someone is even trying to express, a guy specifically, are trying to express these really intense emotions that seem to be coming out of nowhere or seem to be not in line with what's been going on. They just happen all of a sudden, but sometimes they're not as that intense. Anything out of the ordinary when it comes to intense emotions that a guy is going to feel all of a sudden. I need you to be very wary of that. Obviously, we've had this talk, so maybe you'll be a little bit more cognizant of that. You need to be very wary of that and understanding that, hey, there's nothing wrong with feeling emotions, but the idea that you would feel intense emotions unless you were actually triggered by something is very unrealistic. And especially if we haven't been talking, or especially if we haven't been building towards something, and now all of a sudden you feel these intense emotions that you didn't feel last week. No, that's like hot and cold. No, you're trying to trigger me. No, you're trying to get me emotional. I'm not going. Or if you know you're someone that folds like a cheap lawn chair in those type of situations, this is my direct advice to you. Instead of allowing him to come over that night, tell him, this is very simple. Tell him, I'm glad you want to see me so badly, and I'm glad you are so excited to see me. Let's do this in 2 days during the day. That's when I'm free. Give it 2 days. Tell him you can come see me. You can spend the time with me. You can talk to me about what you want to talk to me about. Let's do it in 2 days, and let's do it during the day. And then let's see what he responds like. Okay. Let's see if that actually happens. If you know you're someone that will fold and always say yes, you can say yes. If you know you'll fold, just say yes for 2 days from now during the day. And then let's see what happens. Okay? Right? Makes sense? Because you'll realize it wasn't actually that overwhelming or intense for him when 2 days passes and it's during the day, not 2 a.m. after the club when he's off that Reposado or off that 1942 or off that Casamigos. Okay, let's be so for real. So love bombing, number 1, future faking, number 2, withdraw, number 3, playing dumb, attention to others, overwhelming. Next we have stringing you along. Okay. Now, this one is pretty straightforward. Guys are going to string you along in the process of confusing you and in combination with future faking so that you'll consistently feel like something might happen or is about to happen, or just be in a state where you're in so much limbo that you don't even know what decision to make. You don't know if you should leave the relationship because it's not working, and you don't know if you should stay in the relationship because it is working. You're just in limbo. You're not committed. You're also not uncommitted. You're just, yeah. That's literally it. You don't even know what you are. And they string you along and don't give you clarity as a strategy that when things happen in the relationship, when things go wrong, or let's say things happen where, let's say he starts talking to another girl, or something like that, or you find out that he's talking to another girl. Let's say, for example, you're dating a guy, and in the process of you dating a guy, you're going through this talking stage, and and let's say 2-3 months into this talking stage, you realize that he's been talking to another girl from a different city. And when you call him out on it, you're like, hey, you're talking to another girl from a different city? And he's like, yeah, we didn't talk about being exclusive, so I thought we were able to date other people. And you're like, what? I've been sleeping with you for 3 months, and you're talking about you didn't know we weren't talking to other. What? And that's the thing, is that when they string you along and they don't give you any clarity. See, clarity is the enemy of any guy who's trying to use you or take advantage of you. Truthfully, I'll be honest with you. I'm telling you this because I know, because I've used the strategy. Clarity is the enemy of any guy trying to utilize or use you and take advantage of you. Because if you have a lot of clarity and there's a lot of clarity in our relationship, there will be a lot of understanding of what the expectations and the standards are. So when someone makes a mistake, it'll be clear that they made that mistake knowing that it was a mistake, which speaks to intention. See, the thing about it is, when there's a lack of clarity and there's confusion, you can't speak to what my actual intention was when I make a mistake, because I can pass it off as a mistake based on a lack of information or a lack of understanding. But when there's clarity and I make the mistake, it speaks to the fact that I intended to make that mistake despite knowing the consequences for that mistake or the potential consequences for that mistake. So if you're dating a guy and he takes another girl out on a couple of dates, it's very clear that that was wrong, because there's an understanding that that is wrong. So the fact that he would take a girl out on a date would not allow him to pass off that mistake as him just not knowing, or him being confused, or not being clear on what the standards or expectations were. But if you guys don't have a title, if you're not fully dating, but you're not just friends, and you're not really a thing, but you're a thing. See, if you find out that he's dating another girl, you find out that he's seeing another girl, you find out that he slept with another girl, he can pass it off as, my intention was not to hurt you or upset you or disrespect you. I didn't know that you had a problem with that. I didn't know that we weren't exclusive. I didn't know this. I didn't know that. And so you can't guarantee that he's actually intentionally disrespecting you. You can't guarantee that he's actually intentionally, cheating on you, or intentionally going and stepping out on you, or intentionally dating a different girl, going behind your back, because he can pass it off as a mistake. But if it's clear what the standards and expectations are, well, then that speaks to the intention to make the mistake despite knowing the consequences and having the information and having the understanding. Right? Sheer says, what is the point of men doing this? Just be normal. In a perfect world, nobody would play anyone and no one would take advantage of anyone. But unfortunately, that's not the actual world that we live in. So yes, while we might all wish that the guys would just treat you normal and be upfront with what they feel and what they want and tell you everything they're thinking and only talk to the girls that they plan on being in a real relationship with, unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in. And the guys will take advantage of the women who allow themselves to be taken advantage of. So the best option for you is to figure out how the guys are taking advantage of you to end that cycle. That way you don't end up being one of those girls that gets played with. And this is the first step. So yay for you. Okay? So when guys are trying to string you along, you don't allow that to happen. And listen, you don't wait for a guy to give you clarity. You give him clarity on what you expect from him. If he is not prepared to meet that expectation, you get tossed to the side. There's 1,000 other men lined up and ready to access me that would gladly meet my expectations. This is why I say you write down your wish list in your notebook about what you want and what you expect from a relationship. That way, no guy can come to you and try to string you along, and you're hoping that maybe he'll show you what it is that you wanted or show you what it is that you're expecting to see. You already know what you want and what you're expecting and what your standards are, and you're determining, are you going to meet those standards and expectations or not? And when your life is like that, you'll have a lot more clarity, and it won't allow you to string even yourself along. Because in a lot of cases as well, you string yourself along hoping that this guy will change or adjust his behavior, that you'll end up in the relationship that you actually want to be in, and it never ends up happening. Okay? And I don't want that for you. So we talked about love bombing, future faking, withdrawing, playing dumb, attention to others, overwhelming, stringing along. And then lastly, we have here molding their personality. Now, molding their personality is a great way to trick you. Okay? Because what they'll do is, this is why I told you, well, we'll talk about this after. Guys will get a real deep understanding of what it is you want and what it is you wish for, what your dream relationship would be like. And for a lot of them, they're just using that understanding to play the role of the person that you're looking for. That way, you'll be convinced that they're the person that you're looking for. That way, you'll sleep with them, you'll be with them, you'll give them access to your Squirtle very quickly, easy, and painlessly. And when you finally do, they will unzip that Prince Charming suit and reveal themselves on who they actually are. They'll step out of the Prince Charming suit and they'll give you a thumbs up and walk out that door forever. Okay? And it's very sad and traumatic for you. The reason guys do that is to confuse you, because they know if you're seeing all the things that you want, you're going to feel like I'm the person for you. And the more you see the things that you want in me, you're going to feel like this is the relationship you're meant to be in. And the more convinced you are that this is the relationship you're meant to be in, the easier it will be for you to convince yourself that, okay, I should give access. I should give you full access to me. I should give you my Squirtle because you're who I'm looking for. We're on the same page. You want to be with me and I want to be with you, and you're exactly who I want in my life. And so to combat that, as crazy and as strange as it sounds, I always want you, in the process of building relationships with guys, you know what you want, okay? I want you to be very crystal clear on what you want, but I don't want you to start going out and telling guys exactly what you want. I know it sounds toxic, I know it sounds stupid, and I know it sounds manipulative, but the issue is when guys know exactly what you want, a lot of them will give that to you in order to sell you on a dream. But if you're vague with what you want, right? It will allow them and force them to have to actually show you their real personality and just hope and pray that their real personality is actually what you're looking for. Or make assumptions, neither of which will necessarily be specific to you, and give them the playbook on exactly how to trigger you. And when I say trigger you, I just mean actually get deep into your heart. Right? Like, for example, if you say, oh my God, in all my relationships, I've never had a guy who gave me flowers before or bought me flowers. I would just love to be in a relationship where a guy would take me out on a date and bring me flowers before we go out on this date. I've just never had a magical moment like that. And I've been dreaming of a moment like that since I was a young girl, and no guy has ever done that for me. When you say that right at the beginning, and a guy's thinking to himself, I love to get in that Squirtle. I love to get access to her real quickly. And so what do you think he does on the next date? He brings flowers for you, and he brings it on the date exactly like you described. And while that's good in theory, what also is happening is now you're in belief that this is your guy. And I don't want to scare you by making you feel like every guy who will do good things for you is actually trying to trick you. But I do want you to understand that some guys are going to do that because they understand that that's the way to your heart. And the way to your heart is also simultaneously the way to your Squirtle. So the more vague you are, you actually force guys who are really interested in you to actually show their interest in you by doing things and taking action on that interest. Okay? A guy will genuinely take action on his interest in you and do a lot of the things that you want a guy to do anyways when he's genuinely interested in you. But in a lot of cases, the guys that aren't as interested in you will find it easy when they have the playbook on everything you want and everything you need and everything you desire, because they don't naturally have that desire to chase after you or pursue you for real, but they do have the desire to get inside your Squirtle. And because they have the desire to get inside your Squirtle, they'll do the things that make it easier to get inside your Squirtle. See how that works, right? Annie sends $4 in the TikTok, or sorry, in the TikTok chat, in the YouTube chat. Thank you so much, Annie. I really appreciate sorry, it's $5. You're the big one, not the small one. Annie sends $5. She says, my friend finally got a girlfriend. He actively cheats and shows off his body. Why is he with her? I know he doesn't respect her, but she wants to be married. So you're saying, like, why does he take advantage of her? Because he can. I hate to make guys sound like villains, and I hate to put you guys in such a pessimistic state. I don't want you to be. I just want you to be skeptical and more aware. But like, you have to understand, like, in this world, like not just men, but people will take advantage of you if you allow them to. And so the people that get stepped on and walked all over and used are the people who allow themselves to get stepped on and walked all over and used. And you have to do yourself a favor by standing up for yourself. There is nobody that is going to come and rescue you and stand up for you. Treat yourself right, treat yourself with respect, and don't allow people to come along and disrespect you. And I promise you, you'll get approached very differently. Because you won't even have time or energy for the people who are here to disrespect you or not approach you the right way. And you'll attract a very different energy when you believe that of yourself. I know it sounds strange, and I know it sounds like not the perfect world to live in, because you're like, oh, but the guy should fix up and the guy should make changes and the guy should be better. Yes, cool. I agree with you. I'm not arguing with you. Yes, the guys should get better. They should change. They should treat women well and all that good stuff. Yes, that's awesome. But we don't live in that world. And us talking about how the guy should change and fix up and get better is actually not going to change anything. Because as long as there's girls to be used and taken advantage of with low self-esteem, that don't know their self-worth and don't treat themselves with respect, the guys will go out and utilize those girls, take advantage of those girls, and get and extract exactly what they want from those girls. So nothing's actually going to change the more we complain about what the men should be doing. How you can actually start seeing a different result is by growing a spine, growing a backbone, and not allowing people to walk all over you or take advantage of you, and having more knowledge on how people will try to walk all over you and take advantage of you. Right? Very important. Okay. So do you guys have any questions about what we just discussed? Justin says, my ex admitted that he hated and was jealous of me. He was so vile. It's crazy. It's crazy. You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked. Okay. You'd be shocked. Ivy said it's okay. We know they are predators. ABC says, this is why I'm never asking him for gifts. If he shows up empty-handed, I'll just not see him again, and he can figure out why. See, yeah, honestly, I'm not opposed to that, because, when you start telling people everything you want, especially at the very beginning, I'm not saying communication is a bad thing, but at the very, very beginning, you just want to be cautious and really get to figuring out, are you here because you really want to be here and invest in me, or are you here to see how quickly you can get access to me? And there's a difference. Some guys will be one and some guys will be the other. But the more you let go of the playbook at the very beginning, the easier it will be for him to convince you that he's your guy, even if he's not. And the harder it will be for you to absorb his genuine, actual actions and feelings and the way he treats you, because you'll be judging him based on your own playbook. You get what I'm saying? Cali Vive said, sad thing is when you realize how men are, you don't even want to date anymore. I'm single for years. Just go out with friends, concerts, and go out alone. See, there's nothing wrong with that. And you see, when your life becomes fulfilling, even without men, that's actually when you'll attract the most men, ironically, because you won't have the need to have a man in your life. You'll also have a lot higher standards. So when men try to come into your life in a very low quality form, or they try to mistreat you or disrespect you, you'll be like, look, my life was already good without you. So if you're going to come here with disrespect, if you're going to come here with mistreatment, if you're not going to come here acting like the man you should be acting like, I don't have time for you, because my life is actually better if you're not in it disrespecting me. But the girls and the women who have not enough fulfillment in their own life, not enough interesting enjoyment, happiness in their own life, will find it very difficult to let go of even men who are mistreating or disrespecting them. Right? Does that make sense? By the way, guys, if you have a specific question for me that you want answered, don't ask it in the TikTok or the YouTube chat. Ask your situation or question in the Discord. So if you're on TikTok, go over to the link in my bio on my TikTok page, and you'll enter the Discord. I think just open it in browser. You can enter the Discord, and you'll be able to get access to ask me a question, which I will answer live on the show. Okay, so it is a public question. Just keep that in mind. The same thing for you guys on YouTube. Go down into the link in my description at the bottom, and you will see the link to my Discord where you can ask your question in the relationship advice section. Put it in detail, look at the other how the other questions are formatted, and ask your questions. I'm going to answer a bunch right now in just a second, okay? Justine says, yep, I learned my lesson. I'm glad. Sammy says, like, why would I do bad with you when I can do bad by myself? I'm doing so well, though. See, it's good. It's good to realize. It's good to realize that your life is good with or without the guy specifically in it, or a guy in general. Because that's when you'll actually have the self-esteem and self-respect that if you're not here to actually bring value and goodness and positivity and amazingness into my life, then I don't need you in my life, because my life is awesome and amazing without you. And that's when you'll get the highest quality men, truthfully, to be honest with you, right? Catalina says, is it so sad that the more I see your videos and learn about men, the less I want to date someone? I think what's actually happening, Catalina, is not necessarily that you want to date people less, but you're more skeptical now, which is good, because when you get in relationships or you start dating a guy, or a guy says he wants to take you out on a fancy dinner and all that good stuff, now you're actually thinking about analyzing his behavior and observing who he actually is and removing the mask from him, because you're so skeptical about all the things that we talk about. And that's good, because it'll make it a lot clearer to you when you're dating a guy or talking to a guy who is not in line with what you're looking for. And you'll have a lot more clarity whenever you're on these dates, or whenever you're in these talking stages or trying to build with someone. And the clarity you'll have will make it very easy to make a lot of decisions. Okay. Reem says, what if I made him feel like I want him too early, and I went to his house and we made out, but nothing more? How do I get my power back? I always tell you guys, the way you get your power back is by withdrawing your energy. So what I mean by withdrawing your energy is you got to stop the texting. We've talked about texting a lot. You got to stop the texting. You got to stop the Snapchatting. If some of you are Snapchatting and you're on the younger side, you got to stop even the sending Instagram memes and reels and the TikTok videos. You stop all of that. You remove yourself and withdraw yourself from the relationship and the situation and the person. Because when you withdraw your energy and that guy is actually truly interested in you, what's going to happen is he's going to start questioning why you withdrawn your energy. Then when he addresses the fact that he has a problem with you withdrawing your energy and he wants to know why, you can address what you're upset about, or address what it is you have a problem with. Okay. And so in Reem's case, if you want to get power back, you have to withdraw your energy so that he can be the one seeking your validation to understand how he can get more of you. Okay. Does that make sense? A user says, what if we just leave? Then you can leave. That's perfectly fine. If you just leave the guy because he's not what you want, then you just leave the guy. Jennifer says, some of these men are infected with narcissism, so dealing with them takes away your power completely. Well, not necessarily, because if you're not sleeping with these men, they can't have the ultimate power, because the ultimate power over you is sleeping with you. And if they can't sleep with you, then they can't have the ultimate power over you. Right? They're still in the hunt to get more access to you. So that's why I always say, the longer you hold out on that and you spend more time observing if this is the guy that you want to be with, then it's all better for you. That's also why I always tell you guys, if a guy's yapping on a date about himself and his life and not giving you a chance to share, that is actually really good. Because then he's not even concerned with asking you questions about you, and he's revealing more and more of himself. And if he reveals himself to, because some of you are like, oh, well, if he's a narcissist, he won't even ask me questions about himself. Great. And then in the process of him talking all about himself, you'll realize how much of a narcissist he is. And then you won't even give away any squirtle to that man. And then you'll move on with your life. You're not looking for a narcissist. So the quicker he can tell you how much of a narcissist he is, the quicker you can get out of that situation. So it's actually a win-win for you to be with the guy who all he does is yap about himself and tell on himself. It's actually a great thing. You should be looking forward to the days where you can get a guy yapping and talking all about himself, where you don't even have to worry about making yourself look like you're not just asking him questions, and you can just get all the information you possibly want. And then when you're ready to say, yep, this is not the guy I'm looking for, you don't sleep with him, you don't do anything with him, and you just walk away scot-free, and you're perfect. Okay, so that's a good thing, right? Right. Rach says, I feel like it's also bad if a guy doesn't care to get to know you, though, right? It is. And if he doesn't care to get to know you and he's only talking about himself, it is bad. But that's why I say it's good for you, because you'll discover that by allowing him to talk. You'll discover that by just letting him go and not looking for your chance to share it, your chance to chat, and your chance to talk about yourself. You'll notice that he's not asking about you. You'll notice that he doesn't care enough to even wonder what you're doing or what your thoughts are or what your perspective is. That will also make it clear to you how he really feels. You see, when you're observing and instead of yapping and instead of sharing, when you're observing and you're receiving and you're listening, you'll get all the information you need in whatever form the information comes in. So if the information comes in and you realize this is actually someone you want to be with, then that'll be good. You'll get that information by observing and listening. The same way, if the information comes in and he's not the person that you're looking for, you'll get that information by listening and observing. So it's a win-win either way, anytime you listen and observe, instead of trying to share and react and trying to, come out and jump out the window and be like, oh, it's my turn. It's my turn. Right? Jennifer says, that's what I meant. If you sleep with them, then they can take your power away, which is different, 100%. Which is why the whole process of everything we talk about is understanding men, understanding the different tactics and schemes that they use. That way you can I'm basically boosting your ability to process information when you're dealing with guys, that you can actually start deciphering the codes of what these actions and words actually mean. And your processing power will become so much better that you won't be giving yourself away to guys who aren't actually here for the right intentions. And because your processing power will be so high, you'll be able to spot that very quickly and very efficiently before you give yourself away to the guy. So by the time you do give yourself away to a guy and give him that power over you by sleeping with him, it'll be to the right guy who's actually invested in you and wants to grow a relationship with you, not to some random. Right? It's Meaty says that we can see they are all the crap, right? I don't know what you mean, right? If a guy trauma dumps, what does that mean? It could mean a multitude of things, but you should listen and observe to wait to see what that means. Because some guys are trauma dumping because they never get the chance to talk. And so they trauma dump just because they never get the chance to actually share. Either way, it's good. In the process of a guy trauma dumping, I want you to encourage a trauma dump. Anytime a guy starts trauma dumping on you, encourage the trauma dump. Ask more questions. Comfort him so that he trauma dumps more, because you'll learn a lot about him while he's trauma dumping on you. And that's more in the whole name of this game is gathering information. The more information you gather, the better off you'll be. The only person that loses in a relationship or a talking stage is the person with the least amount of information, because with less information, you can't make an educated decision. So everything you're doing in your relationship is trying to gather more and the maximum amount of information before you ever make a decision of sleeping with him. Ashley says trauma dumping is unattractive. It is unattractive for a lot of people, but it helps you and it benefits you. And the crazy part about it is when a guy will trauma dump on you, it'll also help you not see him not put him on a pedestal where you think he's like the perfect person, angel that just fell down from the sky, and you start projecting onto him all these perfect qualities that he doesn't actually have and not seeing him for the real person that he is. And so when they trauma dump on you, it also lets you kind of calm your squirrel down and calm yourself down and see this new person as a real person with flaws and things that aren't so attractive. It also helps you be more observant and logical with the way you think, instead of just feeling like, oh my God, you're like Prince Charming. Oh my God, you're absolutely perfect. No, you're imperfect. I'm just going to get to know you, but I'm not overwhelmed with the idea that you're like this perfect person. Okay. So it makes it easier for you to not be feeling like, oh my God, I really just can't get enough of you. Right. Okay. With that being said, it's Discord time. Let's do this. Let's hop into the Discord. We're going to hop into the Discord. We're going to have some chats in Discord. I know we got some crazy ones today, and we got a lot. We got a lot. We're so backed up on the Discord. But I love it. You guys are asking some great questions. We're having some great conversation. It's all good. It's all good. I love it. Okay. So in the Discord, first here today, we have C. C says, why would he do this? It's a good story. Please read. All right, guys, buckle up. So C starts off by saying, hi, I'm 32 and hadn't really focused on dating until I turned 30. That's when I really decided to start the dating apps. I met this guy, also 30, at the same time, and we had a great first date. Excuse me. This then ended up being an 8-month relationship. I had no idea what this was until I experienced this. Yeah, I know, so naive. But I really didn't date before this. Okay. I forgot to mention. Yeah, you guys know. You guys know. As time went by, I realized I wasn't as interested or he wasn't treating me as a priority, which he did at the beginning. So I made things really confusing because he also wouldn't leave. So it made things really confusing because he also wouldn't leave me alone when I pull back energy. You see what happens when you take a step back and when you withdraw? At first, I thought it was cultural differences since I'm Hispanic and he's not. And he said I was the first Hispanic he had ever dated. Not sure if this is true. Anyways, I got tired of being confused, mistreated, disrespected, and I decided I have to have a conversation with him because we didn't seem to be on the same page. This was also in person. Good, I'm glad. He said he wasn't wasting my time and still wanted to try to work things out, but he hadn't met any of my friends. He always had excuses when I finally wanted to introduce him to my crew. I was always the one who went out with his friends. When I talked to him, I mentioned that it was okay if he wasn't feeling it anymore, but he insisted that he was. Why would you say that? And that I wasn't wasting my time and that he wanted me to meet his friends, etc. A week passed. I invited him out with my friends, and of course he was busy. At this point, I was over it. Clearly, he didn't want to pursue anything serious with me, and I exploded. And this is always bad. This is always bad. Whenever you guys explode on a guy and just like, send him a long text or a long angry phone call, it's just don't do it. Like, I know that you're emotional and you want to get off your chest everything that you're feeling or thinking. But the problem with that is when you explode on nothing's going to change. It's not like you're going to explode on him. And then when you explode on him, he's going to say, oh, now that you exploded on me, I'm going to change my ways and do everything complete 180. No, you just giving him a lot of power to show him how much you're bothered by him. And I exploded and called him out via text. I know I shouldn't have done that. I'm glad you know. But I think I just had a lot piled up that it got to the point where I just couldn't take it anymore. He then ghosted me for a week. Of course, it never works when you explode on a guy over text or over the phone like that. And then he sent me a breakup text, which I never responded to. I just removed him from my socials. I'm glad you didn't do a second blow up text. You then go on to say, he never stopped stalking me, watching my stories, engaging with my IG, etc. At this point, I'm trying to move on. He finally reached out after a month via text and asked if we could have dinner and catch up. This is also after I ignored his engagements on IG and his DMs when he would interact with the story or send me a message. Wow. But then I shortly discovered a new playlist on his Spotify with the girl's name. How does that work? You're going too much digging. So something you need to know is that music is really important to me, and we bonded a lot over it. He had made me 2 playlists, which is why I went to his Spotify profile and saw his new playlist. So did you start talking to him again? It sounds like you started talking to him again. Which is why I went to his Spotify playlist. This playlist has a bunch of songs I showed him. Why does it matter? See? Why does it matter? If you're moving on from the relationship, move on. This is why I always tell you guys to delete stuff and throw away stuff. Because why are you starting to spiral here over a guy that you're... Songs that I showed him, which made me mad because this was 2 days after he had texted. Cool. You don't want to be with that guy. Don't pay it any mind or any energy or attention. So at this point, I'm just slowly realizing I was dating an F-boy. This went on for about a year. There were 4 more playlists with different girls and songs I showed him, even songs in Spanish, when he started talking to another Hispanic girl. Love, this is not looking good for you here. You're spiraling. I never really responded to his DMs or texts, and when I did reply, oh, so you did. I love when people say that. I love when people say how over they are someone and how much they don't want to speak to someone and how done they are with the person, and then in the process of them saying how they never text back or they never respond to anything, they say I only responded when. I love that. Because it's so typical. I love it. And I knew it was coming. I did reply to his text. It was really short. Of course, it was short. Nothing crazy. And straight to the point of, what do you want? I know you're talking to other girls. Oh, yeah, because that's the best thing to say. So what do you want from me? That's the best thing to say that. He said he was trying to be friends, but I think that's BS. Oh, you think so? Wow. You're an A+ student. Basically, the nice guy I thought I had been dating / hooking up with was a complete liar and an F-boy. So my question is, why are you even entertaining this guy still? Always manipulating me and gaslighting me. At this point, I had so much info from just stalking his post, things ending, that I learned who he really was, which broke me. Why? You weren't with him anyways, and the relationship was over anyways. Why are you concerned with a relationship that is already over? I just don't. Okay. Let me not write yet. I never wished him bad, even if things didn't work out between us, because I'm an adult and I understand people lose feelings or interest, and that's okay. But it's not okay to continue to reach out when he knows I really liked him and cared for him and was looking for something serious, especially since we were both the same age. See? You actually have a choice to not text him back. You do realize that. You actually live in a world where you have free will. So if he sends you a message, you actually don't have to respond to his message. If he calls you, you actually don't have to call him back. If he calls you too much to the point where it gets annoying and frustrating, you actually can block him, in which he can't contact you from that phone number ever again. You do realize that, right? So you do realize that responding to him is a choice that you're making. Let's move on. Since he kept texting me every other week / month, I eventually called him out with all the different girls. Why? You just finished writing paragraphs about how this guy wasn't the guy for you. What is the point? Names from his playlist, just trying to prove a point that I'm not stupid and I didn't trust him based on the facts, since he always gaslighted me and he didn't know what I was thinking about or where I was getting my info from. Why do you care what a guy thinks of you or knows what you know or thinks if you're smart or thinks if you figured it out? that you are not even going to be in a relationship anyways. This is why I always tell you guys, keep your energy focused in the places that matter. A guy who you're not even going to be in a relationship with ever again, what he thinks of you, what he wants with you, what he says about it does not matter or concern you. So stop trying to prove something to guys who aren't even showing themselves to be someone that you want to be in a relationship anyways. It's just asinine. It's so stupendously stupid, and it's such a monumental waste of your time. Then one day I randomly found out one of his mutual friends, who is really hot. Okay, where's this going? Had matched with me a year before meeting him. This sounds like a revenge plot. Okay, let's read into your villain arc. We had each other's contact info, and then we followed each other on IG. More revenge. Where my ex situationship would always stalk because we didn't follow each other. He clearly saw this, and his hot friend. He clearly saw his hot friend were now, me and his hot friend were now friends on IG. The day after we followed each other, he deleted my playlist from his profile and created 3 new playlists with a new girl's name. This is so immature. Where he used all the same songs he had put on my playlist to this new girl. See, that's why I say, what was the point of you telling him what triggers you? Because all he did with that information was figure out how he can trigger you when he feels triggered. So what purpose did you really serve other than making it easier to continue hurting yourself? Who turned out to be a famous influencer with this new girl, who turned out to be a famous influencer who he was now talking to. Great. You're not talking to him. Why does it matter? Also, his hot friend and I followed each other a day after he liked my IG story, so he was still engaging with my profile even when I was ignoring him. 2 weeks later, he's now in Europe with the new girl he's talking to, the fashion influencer, which hurt because he never made it to any of the trips we talked about. Why does it matter? Clearly, he wanted to pursue this famous influencer for a serious relationship. The first time that came to my mind was if he wanted to, he would. Exactly. So why do you care? And just because of this, it was clear to me that he never really wanted that with me, which is fine. It is fine. And you should move on and move forward. Just annoying that he used me, manipulated me, and wasted my time. You're wasting more of your time by continuing to give him so much energy and thought power and brain power, while still trying to ruin me after I was okay with us going our separate ways. Of course, the influencer, being an influencer, was posting all about their trip and posting romantic coupling. This is what I just, guys, I really want you to not ever do this. If you're not in a relationship with the guy, mute him or block him so you don't feel tempted to look through his stuff. Because what is the point of putting yourself in pain by looking at how he's treating another girl in a new relationship? What is the actual purpose? Except to put yourself in more pain. How are you going to move forward in your life if you're doing this every day? You're watching a girl. Think about how how much peasant energy you're giving off right now. You're actively checking daily a woman's profile who doesn't even know of your existence, because there's a large chance that I can bet my money on it, this guy hasn't even mentioned you to her. So you're daily stalking and watching a woman's profile who's enjoying her life and her relationship, being treated like a princess, who doesn't even know of your existence. And you're watching her every day, sad in your bed, tearing up. That is peasant energy. Pick yourself off the floor and go do something with your life. I hate to be mean, but I want you to understand how sad this is. Stories, posting romantic stories with soft launches when they had just met. To be honest, I thought it was too much because he was still following and engaging with so many different girls and still reaching out to me just to brag about his new girl. Who cares? Block him. I kind of felt sorry for the new girl. No, you didn't. You wish you were her. Even though he was treating her way better than he treated me. Exactly. You wish you were her. So let's just be so for real. But that doesn't change the fact that he's an a-hole. That just turns me off. Why does it matter? You're not in a relationship with him. He's in a relationship with someone else. Also, the influencer girl, who I honestly had no idea who she was prior to this, had broken up recently with her 5-year BF a few months before this. Okay, guys, I want us to use this as an example of how desperate you will become and how much you will spiral if you don't pick yourself off the floor and gain some self-respect and start moving forward with your life. I want us to use C as an example, because I know some of you have been in this situation. It's a lot easier to say, oh, this is like super crazy because she's the one saying it and it's not you. But I know some of you have been in this situation before, and I just want you to see how sad this is. Look how much information she has on a woman who doesn't even know of her existence. She knows that this influencer girl prior to this relationship had recently broken up with her 5-year boyfriend a few months before. Think about how much research she would have had to do, and how much digging she would have had to do, and how much consistent checking and looking through comments and looking through likes and matching up pictures and matching up destinations and matching up this and that she had to do on a woman who doesn't even know of her existence just to extract this information. Think about how much time and energy she's invested into someone who doesn't even know that she exists, and doesn't care. Think about how much better her life would have been if she invested this amount of time and energy into herself. And I'm talking to you, C, as well. But I'm also using you as an example, not to be mean or rude to you, but I just want you to see where you're making mistakes. Because I did my research, exactly, like I said. Spending time researching a woman who doesn't even know of your existence and doesn't care. So I just thought, oh no, this poor girl is probably vulnerable. That's what you thought? Or you thought you were jealous? Just like I was when I met him. I hope this is not going where I think it's going. I would pray it's not, C. You better not say what I think you're about to say. Because her long-term BF broke up with her, and he was also dating a new person right after. So it made sense for her to do the same with my ex-situationship, which is now her official boyfriend. I hope this is not going where I think it's going. That being said, I decided to finally block him on IG when he liked my story a few days before him posting in Europe with the influencer, because it was clear that he was never going to stop bothering me. It's been 2 years now since things ended. Oh my God. Oh my God. This situation was 2 years ago? Oh my God. Oh my God. Since things ended, and a year and a half of him being blocked. And he still every now and then reaches out via text. How is that possible? See? How is that possible if he's blocked? Did you actually block him? Or did you half block him on everywhere except text so he can continue reaching out to you on text? Why didn't you block his text? He'll still send a random song without saying anything, but he's always just playing games. I haven't responded to him since last May. He does this, Ain't that funny? Because I swear up here, you basically said that you're done with him and you blocked him so that because he was bothering you. So you blocked him, right? And you didn't have time for him. But it's been 2 years and you're saying that you responded to him last May. So less than 2 years ago is the last time you responded to him, even though you said you were done with him and you want nothing to do with him. Anyways, let's move on. He does this so I can stalk him and see his new IG post with his influencer girlfriend. And you do. And all her influencer famous friends. This is so unhealthy. And made sure to also post a dump, which included his hot friend. What? You're like, it's crazy because you're more invested in someone else's life than you are even in your own life. What are you doing? What fun things are you doing? What fun hot friends do you have? None. You just live through him. Who, by the way, would engage with my stories too and kind of flirted with me, but then he I almost dropped my mic. Even the hot friend that used to flirt with you and you thought you were getting some sort of ego boost. He unfollowed you and removed you as a follower. Oh my God. See, Move on with your life. I can't believe how sad and tragic this story is. This is actually so sad and tragic. Even the guy I thought you were going to say, oh, the hot, amazing, attractive man, he started messaging me and he came over to my house, and even that guy said, yo, I don't want nothing to do with her. She's useless to me. He couldn't even be bothered to leave you as a follower. He said, yo, my life with my boy is so much more interesting. I don't even want you stalking me to stalk him. I'm removing you as a follower, dude. It's so tragic to be you. It's so tragic to be you. I'm pretty sure my ex-situationship told his hot friend something, and that's why he unfollowed me / removed me as a follower. And he wanted to make sure I knew, which is why he posted him on a dump. You have quite a few delusions going on here. I get that maybe he unfollowed you because his friend said something to you, but like you've delusioned yourself all the way to the point where you think he's posting a dump in a particular way so that you'll see the dump and interpret it that, he's posting the best friend because he has this evil plan of having you see that his best friend is his best friend, and that in the dump, it's going to make it clear to you that he got his best friend to unfollow you, and the dump is his message to get out of your delusions here. Like you have spiraled so far into the deep end. This is actually a tragic story, and it just keeps getting more tragic for you. Because he had never posted him before, they're not even close. And that's why he sent a text to make sure I saw. Cool. Like, why would he care if me and one of his mutual friends followed each other if he's already dating the serious influencer? Why do you care? I guess my question is, why would a guy do this, keep bothering me when he didn't really care about me? Why did he get triggered when me and his hot friend followed each other if he had already been dating multiple girls and is now officially dating a famous influencer? Why would a guy who cared for you at some point want to intentionally hurt you and mentally abuse you? He ended things. I respected his decision and let him go. You didn't actually let him go. You pretended to, but you didn't actually. But he kept coming back to bother me when I never disrespected him or treated him bad. I only defended myself when I realized I was being manipulated. Okay. And even though he's now in a serious relationship with the influencer, I know he still consistently is following random girls on IG. How would you know that? Because you're checking every single day. And engaging with your posts. Would you know that? Because you're checking every single day. It's honestly disgusting, and seriously, I don't get how his new GF doesn't realize the type of guy she's dating. Why does it matter? It doesn't concern you. Also, because I tried to warn her a year and a half ago. I knew this was coming. I knew it. That's why I said, I hope you didn't do what I thought you were going to do. I can always smell it. I can smell it. I knew this was coming. I knew the jealousy was too painful for you to resist wanting to reach out to her to tell her about something that doesn't even concern you. I know you'll say you're trying to be a girl's girl, or you're trying to look out for her. In reality, what you actually are is jealous of her, and you don't want her to live in happiness because you're not living in happiness with that guy. Because if all you're concerned about is yourself and your wants and your needs and what works and what is working for you, you won't care about a guy who you're not even dating anymore. And to be honest with you, you didn't even have that serious of a relationship with in the first place. This went on over the span of how many months were you actually there was never, so this was an 8-month situationship. So never at one point were you even his girlfriend. And you're warning his actual girlfriend about things you experienced when you were never his actual girlfriend. You look like an insane person. You look like an obsessed person. You're telling his actual girlfriend about experiences you had as a random in a situationship that he never claimed. You look crazy. You warned her a year ago and she ignored you. It's so embarrassing to be you. It's so embarrassing. It's painfully embarrassing to be you. Even when you try to get your stuff off. by feeling like, oh, when I tell her, she's gonna know, and he's not gonna be happy anymore. She's gonna break up with him, and his whole relationship will fall apart. She didn't even respond to you. That's how irrelevant you are to her. She couldn't even be bothered to respond to your message. You're literally acting like a peasant. See, I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings, but I want you to see how much of peasant energy you're giving out right now. That girl couldn't even be, she doesn't know of your existence, and she couldn't even be bothered to respond to your message. She probably didn't even open it. And you're checking her profile daily. It's so sad. It's so sad. She probably thought because she's an influencer and successful that I wouldn't do that to her, that he wouldn't do that to her. But I don't know, maybe he will change for her. But I just think he's super disrespectful to me and his new girl for even engaging with me and other girls while dating her. Thoughts? My thought is none of anything you said in this entire message concerns you whatsoever. The saddest part about this whole message is this man was never even your boyfriend. This was an 8-month situationship, at which time he was probably sleeping with and talking to other girls simultaneously. It pains me to tell you this, but you meant nothing to him, and you want to feel like you meant something to him. And this is such a monumental waste of your time to be so concerned with this man and his relationship and that girl, when you should be pouring into yourself, figuring out what your hobbies and interests are, deleting. You need to delete Instagram, honestly. Get off of that app because it's become an addiction for you. And you've become so heavily invested in other people's lives that you don't have any more time or energy left for yourself. How can you be thinking about how to better your own life and grow and improve as a person and figure out what you care about, figure out what you're passionate about, figure out what you enjoy when you're so heavily invested in what other people are doing with their lives? And so heavily invested in a man who never even claimed you as his girlfriend in the first place. In reality, you want to be her. You're not trying to warn her of anything. You just wish you could be her. And the pain of not being her is keeping you invested in everything that's going on in their relationship. I'll send you a newsflash. It's a waste of your time. Don't think about him. Don't message him. Don't call him. Don't message him back if he messages you. Don't call him back if he calls you back. Block him on everything. Block his phone number. Block his Instagram. Block his WhatsApp. Block his Snapchat. Block his YouTube. Block everything. Block everything. Block her as an influencer. Go on each one of her social media pages and block her. Block her YouTube page if she has one. Block her TikTok. Block her Snapchat. Block anything that has to do with her. Block anything that has to do with him. Block even anything that has to do with his friend. And don't unblock it ever. Ever again. Okay? That's my answer to you, C. Next here we have, oh, by the way, thank you, Deb. Deb donated $20 in the YouTube chat. Thank you so much, Deb. I appreciate the $20 donation so much. I know that was a long message, guys, but she went in detail, so I had to go in detail. Next, we have Violet. By the way, guys, try and keep it under the character count. I don't mind if you guys go into a little bit more detail, but that was a long one. Friendship turned romance. Long distance, no plans to meet after 1 year. Violet says, he took me on a really romantic international vacation last year, initially to rekindle our friendship, but it became extremely intense and romantic after 1 day. One day, 24 hours. Okay. And he told me he had been in love with me for years. He said he wanted us to visit each other every few months or every few weeks. We live halfway across the country from each other. We have been good friends for about 6 to 7 years and met in college. Okay. He said he's not ready for a relation. He's been in love with you for years, but he is not ready for a relationship yet. And needs more time to focus on his career until he can court me. I honestly believe this as really young, as we are really young in our 20s, and he's just starting his career and totally focused on his projects. He does put a lot of time and effort into me. He FaceTimes me, calls me every day, texts me every day. He reaches out consistently even if I ignore him or don't answer. He sends me food when I am sick. He sends me flowers. He has helped me through some really challenging times. I'm confused here. So he's basically treating it like a relationship and being consistent like a relationship. So in what capacity is he not ready for a relationship? Just simply the commitment? I have a lot of hobbies and a very demanding job, so I hardly reach out, and I rarely have time to talk as much as he wants to, even after 1 year, which really annoys him. I probably only answer half of his phone calls, but we still have a really strong relationship and friendship underneath that. He loves to help me with my problems and pretty much every difficult situation in my life, and has genuinely made my life so much better in this area. However, he slowly stopped being so romantic with me as before. Okay. He never says he loves me now. This is not your boyfriend. Should I tell him I have moved on or don't see him romantically anymore? Why? Why do you feel the need to do things? I don't want him to think I am waiting around for him forever. Well, I'm confused. So you want to be with this guy in a relationship with this guy? I, okay, let's go on. I have heard this is reverse psychology sometimes works. He is such an amazing person, but it just seems totally inconsistent. That he is not trying to progress our romantic relationship at all, while initiating super consistent contact for 1 year, and is convinced we will end up together once he has finished his current work project. Am I totally naive? A few nights ago, we were on a phone call that lasted a few hours. I said I saw him as a really close friend, and he was really upset. He says he cannot see me as a friend. I'm not sure if this kills his attraction because he has been reaching out and trying way more since I started to say he is just a friend. We are incompatible. Since I started saying he is just my friend and we are incompatible, etc. So Violet, this is why I tell you guys to figure out what you want for yourself. Because Violet, if you feel like you're incompatible with this guy, then why does any of this matter? If you genuinely feel that this relationship is incompatible, why does anything he's doing here matter? All that really, if you think that you're incompatible, all this really tells me is that you're only sending me this message because you're getting anxiety that a guy that used to like you is making you feel like he doesn't like you as much anymore. And that's the only thing you care about, is him taking away his attention. Because it seems like the actual guy is not interesting to you. But the fact that he'll give you a lot of attention consistently and be so persistent, that's what's interesting to you. Because it doesn't make any other logical sense why you can acknowledge a guy is incompatible to you, but you're simultaneously talking about how he doesn't want to be in a relationship and he's not ready to be with you. What? How does that work? How are you even wanting to be with him if you feel you're incompatible with him? At times when I have really pulled away for whatever reason, days/weeks, that I was super busy or less interested in him, he seemed less romantically interested. He's told me many times that like effort and that quality conversations are his love language. This seems to be true, but it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me either why you're entertaining a guy who you don't feel like you're compatible with. If that's genuinely how you feel. I think he may be insecure that I am really set in my career with a few years of experience, and he is still getting a handle on things, working on a personal project. But that's not as important to me as we are friends from college. Obviously, we slept Sorry, what do you mean? What do you mean? Obviously, we slept together. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, though? What do you mean by that? When you say that, obviously, we slept together, as if that was something I was supposed to just know. Obviously, we slept together, so it's hard to believe that he has gone this long without wanting me physically. Says he has been not with anyone else. What type of friendship is this? It's not one. I just don't. Okay, I'm not really gonna focus on the guy so much. I want to focus on you, Violet, because I don't know what you want out of the situation. I'm not sure how you can acknowledge that you guys are incompatible and still be concerned with anything that has to do with this romantic relationship. It really just seems like you enjoy the attention and the persistence that he shows you, and that's all you enjoy. Because it seems like the only time you seem to have a problem or you seem to be anxious about anything is when he takes a little bit back that attention and that persistence. Because you didn't talk about everything else in terms of how he calls you every day and all that stuff like that. The only things you seem to have a problem with is when he took the attention away and he was not saying I love you anymore, which, I mean, you're friends, right? You're not dating. So why would he be consistently saying he loves you? Don't you think that's strange? What is the boundary here? What are the expectations here? You're kind of actually aiding in the process of stringing this whole thing along because nobody has any clarity. He's not providing you with any clarity, and you don't have any clarity on what you want out of this relationship. You're just kind of talking to a guy who you don't feel you're compatible with, but you want to be in a relationship with. I'm highlighting these because you actually said them. So he said he's not ready for a relationship yet, almost as if you're implying that you're ready for one, but you have a very demanding job, so you can't be in one. But you also acknowledge that he's not compatible with you, but you also acknowledge that, like, what is it that you want, Violet? I don't understand. It seems like you just want attention. And I don't even think you're emotionally prepared to be in a relationship with him. You just want the consistent attention that he'll show you and the persistence that he'll show you. Because while I'll acknowledge that, it's good to be a little bit unavailable over the phone and a lot of bit unavailable over the phone and over text, the fact that you're on a consistent basis, you said, I can't find it where you said you answer basically half of his calls. So like basically, as much as he calls you, you're answering half of the time. And you're texting him back probably even less than that. So it doesn't even seem like you're that much very interested in even speaking to him or talking to him. You just like how persistent he'll continue to be, even though you don't really want to talk to him or speak to him. And the moment he stops being a little that much consistent and that much persistent, that's when you start getting a little bit of anxiety. It's not very good. It's not very good, Violet. I think you need to figure out what you want before you figure out anything else, because you need to decide for yourself, do you want to be in a relationship with this guy or not? If you do, then you got to set him straight and say, look, I'm not here for anything except a relationship. If that's not what you're ready for, cool. Don't speak to me. Don't text me. Don't call me. Don't nothing with me, because I don't have time to be doing that if we're not building towards something. So make it black or white. Are we building a relationship? Okay, cool. Then let's build one. Let's work on one. If we're not, okay, cool. I got to go do some other stuff other than sit around in limbo with you. If he's not ready yet for a relationship, then let him not be ready. But don't be giving your time and energy to him while he's hoping for one day he'll get ready. Just take and withdraw your energy. And whenever he's ready, if that's 3 years from now, 4 years from now, then he can message you and text you and call you when he's ready. But other than that, he doesn't need to have access to you for any reason whatsoever. Doesn't make any type of sense. Okay. Let's go on to the next one here. This one was deleted. Okay. After you said, please read. Okay. Next one is Leo Girl. Okay. Leo Girl says, question, feeling stupid for not setting boundaries from the start. Leo Girl says, hello, Tomisin. I am new here and I've been listening to your past videos to catch up and learn more. I am 29 years old, dating a 39-year-old right now for 4 months. Let me give a quick rundown. He approached me several times over a few weeks before I stopped to talk and exchange numbers. Okay. He invited me on a date and I had fun and enjoyed his company. He has a business on my avenue, so I have to pass there every time I leave my house. He has 6 kids with 5 baby mothers. Let me take a drink because this is going to be a doozy. Okay. 6 kids with 5 baby mothers and lives with one of his baby mothers. And you still considered that? Okay. I didn't know that. I asked him and he told me that 1 week after our date. So that should have been the last date. I was already getting to like him, so I didn't end things. This is when you become attached to the person instead of attached to the outcome. Sorry, the outcome of being with the person instead of only attaching yourself to the right situation. Anyways, he comes over to my house and we talk and what just happened? What just happened? I almost remember that she said this thing was 1 week after our date. So how long was it since you guys slept together? Like a week? 2 weeks? How many dates did you even go on in 1 week? Like, how many times did you see him total before you guys slept together? 2, 3 times? Okay. He comes over to my house and we talk and we have pineapples. We have had pineapples about 4 times. How long is this? Okay, 4 months. He doesn't give me money or do anything for me. He only drops me off to work and if I ask. I don't know where our relationship is going or what I'm doing here. I'm like gobsmacked right now. When I express concerns, he reassures me, and that calms me for a few days. Reassures you with what? That you will eventually be his 6th baby mother and have his 7th child? Is that the reassurance that he gives you? Calms me for a few days until my senses kick back in and my brain takes back control from my heart. He went overseas for 2 months and didn't bring back anything back for me, but came to visit me the following morning for pineapples. This might be one of the most embarrassing messages like sent on here. Like, the lack of respect you have for yourself is insane. That's right around when I found your channel and started to make myself distance. Thank God, you were in a spiral. I know you will be disappointed in the above, but I'm trying to make the changes you have been suggesting, but please do be stern because I deserve it and I will appreciate your honesty. Oh, rest assured, I will be stern. Let's get this going. So my question is, he already isn't a phone person. So how do I limit contact in order to let him miss me? I have already stopped answering his good morning messages and I'm trying to leave out early before he opens and comes home late and after he closes. But honestly, I can't keep it up for long as I need to get home early. My plan is to pull away, let him miss me, and wait for him to come begging. And if he doesn't, I'm already distant and out of his life, so it's already over. But if he comes back begging, then I will make my demands, set my boundaries, and if he doesn't agree to my demands, I end things. As desperate as you presented yourself in this first half of the paragraph, Leo girl, you actually said a lot of smart things here. So it actually makes me feel even worse that you're this smart and intelligent and get played this crazy. Like this was already a non-starter. Unless you're into that. Unless you truly want to be baby mama number 6 and have kid number 7. But even this itself, he lives with one of his baby mothers. So what's the end goal? You start dating him, you go over to his house and you say hi to his baby mom while you guys go in the bedroom that he sleeps in with her and sleep together? Let's be so for real. So this is part of the analyzing you have to do when you're even like, yes, this is a good plan. Okay. However, is this a good man? Because you are 29 years old. Okay. Remember, we ain't doing no more age shaming, and 29 is very young. Like, you still have a lot of life to live. You're still radiant. You can still pull a lot of guys and a lot of interest from a lot of guys. Even if you're older, you can still pull a lot of guys. So my point being is, why are you at 29 with no children and never been married? Why are you committing yourself to a mess of a man who has 6 kids with 5 baby mothers? I need you to analyze the situation and think to yourself, 5 separate occasions. He has built a relationship with someone thinking that that person was the person he wanted to be with, and that person thought the same of him, only to have that relationship not work out for whatever reason. 5 different times with 5 different people. And each time it ended up not working out. In 5 tries, he is 0 for 5. That should tell you this guy is probably the problem. If he couldn't get it right with 5 different people. And that's just speaking towards his baby mamas. That's not even speaking towards the other girls that he actually dated and was in a relationship with, but just didn't have a baby with. Even if he has a business, let's assume he has a business and he has all these kids because he can support all these kids and all that good stuff. Even if he has a business, he can support all these kids. You're still going to be priority number. Let's count it up here. He's got 6 kids, so you're definitely going to be behind the children. Okay. He's got 5 baby mothers who gave birth to those kids, so they're going to be priorities over you because those kids are going to be older than your kids. So you will be priority number 12. Is that what you want, Leo girl? You want to be priority number 12 in this man's life. God forbid he's a religious man, because God will be above that as well. So you'll be priority number 13. If he's an older man, he's 39. Okay, eventually his kids will have grandchildren. And what about his own immediate family? You might not even make the top 15 of his priorities. Is that where you want to be in a man's life? Trying to hang on to the top 15 of his priorities? Leo girl, look at me in my eyes. Do you want to be struggling and fighting for the top 15 in a man's life? You're 29 years old. You have so much life to live. Why would you settle for being priority number 15 in a man's life? It does not make sense. Stupid ass. It doesn't. And the reason I say that is because I want you to slap yourself in the face and come to the realization that, yes, your plan and your strategy is a good one. I would tell you to apply this in other situations as well. But what outcome do you want? In the scenario in which this works and he wants to be in a relationship with you, your priority number 13 to 15? What's the point? Why not build a relationship with a man who it will be his first time dating you? Or first time having children, or first time getting married? I don't think this is the man for you. I think you just like the fact that he's a man paying attention to you. So I don't even think there is anything to go back to here. I actually think you should move forward, and whether or not he still wants to be with you, you move your life forward without him in it whatsoever. Don't speak to him. Don't talk to him. Don't pay attention to him. Don't respond to him. Don't respond to his messages. Don't respond to his calls. Don't respond to nothing. Pretend like he never existed. Poof, he's gone. He vanished. Okay, let's go to our next one here. Let's see what it's like. Okay, Holly says, let's see what Holly says. Holly says, hi Tomisin, I'm the woman who held out for the weekend nights dates. Maybe you remember me. Yeah, I remember you, Holly. It's been over a month, so I get that it's over. I didn't reach out to him. I don't care if he likes me. I did not break and won't. I'm looking for advice on how to get him back. I'm just interested to see, I'm not looking for advice on how to get him back. I'm just interested to see if there's a lesson to learn. Oh, by the way, I didn't acknowledge this earlier. Someone donated. It was Anna. Anna donated. She donated $5 earlier, so I want to say thank you to Anna. Anna says, I started watching the Players Club about 2 weeks ago. I love listening. I gotta get a fly swatter. I love listening to your advice. Just curious, have you read The Body Keeps Score? Thank you. No, I haven't. I will go and look that up, actually. Wonder what it's about. I haven't read that. Is it about the transfer of energy when two people are having intercourse? I actually don't know. I'm just assuming based on the title. But I'll read that. Thank you so much for your donation. It's been over a month. I didn't reach out. I'm not looking for any advice on how to get him back. I'm just interested to see if there's a lesson to learn from other aspects. I'm 53, attractive, blonde, green eyes, dump truck, yitties. You really be listening, huh? You really be listening to me. That's funny. I go to the gym. I've got a career in advertising. I own 3 bedroom houses. I own a 3-bedroom house. I drive a Benz. Wow, you the whole package. I know the physical and material don't matter, but isn't this a part of the perceived value? Yes. Yeah. I have tons of friends. I'm loved by so many people. I have so many hobbies and interests. I am on a bowling league. I take horseback riding lessons. Your life actually sounds really interesting. So I'm confused. What's the problem? Things like that. I'm very confident, it girl, and have black cat feminine energy and secure attachment style. I'm whole. I'm attracted to men 37 to 45 on average, and they are attracted to me. So I have a hard time when people tell me I should go for older guys. I get stared at by a lot of men in public and hit on at Home Depot. Home Depot's that's like the meeting spot for adults. That's like the club for adults. Anyways, I missed a part. It's a bit creepy, but I'm used to it. It seems so ego driven that if I don't validate them, they walk. Don't validate them. I don't get it. If they clearly see how high value they are, then why do they need me to know? Men are status driven and they compare status with me. Am I imagining that? Like, for instance, this last guy rents a basement apartment. Oh my God. This last guy rents a basement, 37 to 45 range is renting a basement apartment, and you said it was embarrassing. And yet, and he said it was embarrassing and he wants me to chase him. He even said I don't chase and I don't like being ignored. Holly, he lives in a basement apartment. I don't think you need to worry about whether he's chasing you or not. He's 37 living in a basement apartment. Like, let's be so for real. Am I some sort of Alice in Wonderland upside down world? In some sort of Alice in Wonderland. That's funny. Is it just my age? I've had 40-year-old boyfriends before that that were lovely. Is it possible that they could be intimidated? I don't think guys get intimidated. That's just something friends say to be nice. I'm confused. Okay, no, I don't think that. See, here's the thing. I think that you're suffering from a combination of things. I think you're meeting a lot of low quality men. And to be honest, okay, I have to be real with you. I believe also that you're a catch. Here's the thing though. Guys who are in this age range, unless you will meet some high quality men and you'll meet some really like awesome men that may just their last relationship didn't work out, or things happen, or maybe they widowed or something like that, right? Where you can still meet a really nice man at this age. But unfortunately, if a guy is still single at this point in his life and there's not some sort of special circumstance, that's going on, you're going to meet a lot of guys like this, right? And it's like it's be problems stacked on top of problems. He's 37, renting a basement apartment, and he doesn't chase. Like, he should be begging for you and your time and attention. Okay? But you have to understand that you're going to meet a lot of flawed guys at this age range. Nothing wrong with that. But just understand that you are well above average. Treat yourself as such, and be on the heavy lookout to really figure out the first. I don't want to make this sound very pessimistic for you, Holly, but the first thing you should be thinking of when you start dating a new guy or seeing a new guy is, why are you single at this point in your life? And that needs to be the very first thing you get absolute clarity on before you even consider taking this person seriously. Because you have to make a decision that, am I willing to invest in you despite the reason you are still single at this point in your life? Someone you might meet might be in a situation just like you, fit, in shape, got stuff going on, takes care of themselves, got stuff going, is not a super toxic person. And you might meet someone like that, in which case that'll be the person you end up being in a relationship with. And I'm sure you can meet someone like that. However, I want you to understand there will also be a large portion of men that you will meet that will have some severe issue that has been the thing plaguing them or preventing them from being in a long-term serious relationship up until this point. And you need to find that out very quickly and early on, so that you can move on to the next thing, okay? There's nothing wrong with going on a date with someone, realizing they're not your style, not your aesthetic, not your type, and then moving on to the next thing without sleeping with them, without having a whole bunch of conversation with them, without exploring them a whole bunch. Because once you become clear on what you want and expect and what you need, it also becomes very clear to you what you don't want and you don't need. And so at this age, you just have to come with the understanding that a lot of men won't be on your level, simply because the men that are on your level will probably be in a relationship. But that doesn't mean you can't meet someone on your level. You just have to find that person. And in the process of finding that person, you're going to meet a lot of frogs, so to speak. Okay? And keep that in mind, but don't allow that to get you in a place where you start feeling like you have to take less than, or you have to settle. And definitely don't start thinking that you have to put yourself in a place where you have to be chasing after the guy, or being desperate for the guy, or doing the guy's job and courting them and taking them out and doing all that stuff for them. No, don't do a guy's job. You'll never end up in a good relationship that way anyways. Continue dating men until you find the one that doesn't have some super crazy psycho or insane problem or issue or horrible credit or something like that, that you can actually work with and build with, that is your style and on your level. And I promise you, just be patient and believe that you can find it, and continue doing what you've been doing. You're taking care of everything that you can control, which is good. That's the start. That's the most important part. And let the rest take care of itself. Okay? And don't be giving a lot of your time and energy to the guys who aren't what you're looking for. Don't worry about the basement apartment guys who are 40 years old. That's insane. Okay? So that's my advice to you. All right, guys, that's the show for today. I know we went a little bit over, but it's Friday. I wanted to go a little bit over for you guys. And so if you didn't get your question answered, don't fret. I'll be back on Monday, in which I will be answering more questions for you guys live on the show. If you have a question and you don't know where to ask it, please go into the TikTok, my TikTok bio, where you can ask your question in the relationship advice section of my Discord, and I'll answer it live on the show. If you're on YouTube and you have a question, you can go down into the link in the description and you can ask your question in the relationship advice section that way. Okay. So for those of you who love me so much and you want to know more about me, not want to know everything I'm doing on a daily basis, you can go over to my Instagram where I post sometimes of the stuff I'm doing, and I give a little bit more insight to my life, and you can scroll down and see who I've been up until this point there on my Instagram. So that's my Instagram up above on the left for you guys on TikTok, and up down at the bottom right for you guys who are on YouTube. For those of you who are on TikTok and want to rewatch this show, this entire live stream, and maybe you missed some points, maybe you came late or you came left early, whatever it may be, you can go on my YouTube right above my head on the right side of the screen. Just type in my name and you will find my YouTube channel. You go in the live section, you'll be able to watch this entire live stream with the TikTok and YouTube live chat embedded in the video. So yes, you that are in the TikTok live chat, your pictures and your names will be on there, and you'll be able to follow all the context of the conversation that we had today. And you'll also be able to watch all the previous live streams that I've ever had since the beginning of time. Okay. So I'm here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. So if you're not, yeah, that's the time. So I'll be here on Monday, not on the weekend, but I will be posting on YouTube on the weekend. So make sure you're following me on YouTube as well. All right. I love you guys so much. Until we meet again on Monday, I will see you later. Hasta la vista. Au revoir. Goodbye. Arrivederci. I love you so much. Have a safe weekend. Have lots of fun. Do lots of things. Don't do a lot of things with boys unless they're taking you out, but have a lot of fun. Do a lot of things that you enjoy. Fulfill your life. Fulfill your mind, body, and soul. And I'll be with you in your mind and in your heart and your spirit until then.